Hello, welcome to Game On, the gaming show that beat communism.
Did we?
Well, no, that was mostly Reagan combined with the impracticality of a communist state without a free market economy, but we probably helped a bit.
Yeah, probably, why not? Coming up, trippy visuals in Amsterdam,
oppressive overlords in New York,
and birds with things up their bottoms.
That's beyond disgusting.
To be honest, January is generally a pretty quiet month for games journalists. The magazines get slimmer, the blog posts get shorter, and we purposefully create more awkward silences to fill airtime. This year, though, things are very different. Yep, it was quite a busy one this week as most of Europe flocked to Amsterdam, where preparations were feverishly taking place for the Nintendo 3DS launch. Was it a launch?
It was more of a lunch, to be honest.
Well, it hasn't come out, so they can't.
Super preview?
Super preview.
Amsterdam is a fabulous European location, most famous for a couple of things. I'll give you a hint, it's not the food and it's not the weather. After today, though, it'll be famous for a rather more wholesome pursuit, gaming. Yes, it was a cold and rainy day in Amsterdam, but indoors, Nintendo were determined to bring sunshine to a select band of Europe's gaming press, with a heavily protracted press conference. Or rather, press conference, as its host might say.
It is, of course, the Nintendo 3DS.
Ever since Nintendo said they were bringing glasses-free 3D to the masses in March last year, anticipation has remained high for the handheld gadget. As more details emerged about the 3DS, so the worldwide clamour for a release date and price increased. Happily, the huge event held in the Netherlands finally gave them an answer. Well, sort of. While Nintendo confirmed the 3DS will be released on the 25th of March, they dodged the pricing bullet by saying the cost was down to individual retailers, but eventually admitted it will be around £230. So is the 3DS worth the money, or have Nintendo just tacked a gimmick onto an existing product? I took to the floor of the event to find out. Now, I promise you, I really am playing The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Unfortunately, you're going to have to take my word for it because we can't film the screen. When you're actually playing, though, you really do have to be looking dead on to get the effects of the 3D, but the slider does help adjust it to your own vision. Of course, I am a specky fellow, so I find that on the fullest setting, it does get a bit iffy and I can't really see it properly. But if I adjust it now, about 2/3 of the way up seems good for me. While the 3D does take a bit of fiddling at first before you find that elusive sweet spot, once you're there the technology really shines. While in general I'm thoroughly underwhelmed by 3D, especially in films, Nintendo have made really good use of it. The visual enhancements not only add new depth to gameplay, each one also seems to serve a purpose. Super Street Fighter 4, for example, feels far more dynamic, with each character looking more than ready to, well, leap out of the screen and crack you on between the legs. Of course, a bigger screen and pretty visuals isn't all Nintendo's 3DS has to offer. It also comes packing a whole host of new features. For example, the new Spot Pass feature allows you to automatically download useful data to your 3DS, and the networking between consoles has also been greatly enhanced. Whether you really will get challenged to a bout of Street Fighter on the tube is another matter, but still the 3DS has tremendous potential, and the addition of features like augmented reality really puts it up there with some of the most cutting-edge entertainment tech. In short, despite naysayers dismissing it as a gimmick and the hefty price tag, the 3DS is a truly impressive piece of kit. As exciting for what it's doing as the way it's doing it, the 3DS impressed me far more than I was expecting, and with a beefy game roster in the offing, it looks set to be one of the most significant releases of the year. So there you have it, that was the 3DS in Amsterdam, the most family-friendly way to have stuff emerge from a screen to come get you.
Hang on a minute, 230 quid, isn't that a bit much? That is more than the Wii was at launch.
Yeah, okay, it's a little bit expensive, but it's fantastic technology. It is the future in the palm of your hand.
I can't see myself spending £230 on something that big.
But it's 3D without glasses. It's amazing. It's got a great lineup as well. I mean, it's the lineup Kinect would have wanted.
Yeah, but Kinect is actually new. This is just the 5th DS, surely.
Well, no, you're wrong.
Now, we've all heard the saying, home is where the heart is, but to be honest, not everyone would agree.
Yeah, I mean, most hipsters would tell you that home is where the record player is.
Yeah, and I imagine you might say, home is where the soap isn't.
That's very funny.
Thanks, man.
THQ on the whole, though, are decidedly less glib about the old adage. According to them, well, home is where the war is.
New York is a beautiful city, the Big Apple, filled with towering skyscrapers and vibrant American culture.
So trust THQ to edge it with razor wire and force games journalists into a fenced-off paddock.
Shocking, that company is just. Do they have any morality whatsoever?
Well, the thing is, they got us to sign something as a condition of entry, and none of us really read it, and it turns out we were waiving our rights as outlined in the Geneva Convention, so...
Wily.
Lunch was nice, though. OK, so admittedly we weren't really being held prisoner in Korean-occupied America. We were free to come and go as we pleased. Amazingly though, very few people actually fancied defecting in the end.
Yes, Stockholm Syndrome, it's called. I've heard of it.
No. In fact, it was all thanks to Homefront's multiplayer.
Let's take this town back.
We spoke to you before about the Battle Point system, but the big reveal at THQ's Gamer Week was a new feature called Battle Commander.
What, like an action figure?
No, it's part of the gameplay.
Sounds like an action figure.
It wasn't an action figure.
You know, now with Battle Commanding Point action, you go there! You go there! It's like Battle Commander.
We should get this marketed. But for people who aren't idiots, Battle Commander is actually the latest onslaught in Chaos Studios' attempt to turn the first-person shooter genre on its head. Basically, it's a fiercely competitive element incorporating star ratings, a bit like the Wanted level in Grand Theft Auto.
If, say, you kill 3 men without dying, it gives you a 1-star rating, challenging you to kill 4 more to reach level 2. There are 5 ranks in total, each giving you a healthy dose of battle points when you attain it.
However, the higher your rank, the harder it is for you to survive. When you reach level 1, 4 random combatants on the opposing team get alerted to your general location and are charged with the task of taking you down. If they succeed, they get a point bonus of their own. The higher a target star rating, the bigger the payout, and the more teammates get the same alert.
It's a truly innovative feature, both rewarding those good enough to get kill streaks and increasing the difficulties they face in battle. So while there are some maps well suited to snipers in Homefront, a hefty kill streak will force them to almost constantly change firing position.
It works surprisingly well, adding some objective-based play to straight-up deathmatches and giving you the sense you're gambling as opposed to
shooting people in the face.
Just so.
Attention, you have been marked a priority threat.
Battle Commander, as with so many of the features in the game, is all about keeping gamers on their toes, while making Homefront stand out as a truly different shooter, as level designer Brian Hinke explains.
I'm sorry?
Brian Hinke?
Brian.
Brian explains.
Battle Commander kind of came into our game plan pretty early. We kind of were looking for ways to kind of flip the genre on its head and do something different. And this was one of those things where we kind of said, you know what, there's so many things going on in these games, so many interesting things. Let's try and pick, what's really interesting and kind of guide players towards that. So, for instance, in a large match with 32 players, your chances of seeing the same guy 2 or 3 times are not so frequent. But in this case, those players that are really good, we're kind of going to draw you towards them. We're going to kind of give newer players, hey, here's some direction on how to play the game and kind of find somebody who's a really big threat. And you can kill that player and really contribute to our team. Because, there's the nemesis situation where, hey, that guy's killed you 4 times. You really want to get revenge. Like, we know you want to get revenge. We know you realize that guy is owning you. So we're just trying to help you out and really, give you a reward for taking that guy out.
We have regained control of B.
So Battle Commander certainly seems interesting and adds a lot to the experience, but looking at Homefront on a broader scale, how does it compare to the last time we played it?
Overall, the experience is a far more balanced one. Some of the weapons before were fairly overpowered, and a few of the vehicles would blow up if you so much as sneezed on them.
So Homefront's multiplayer gameplay is fun, it's fast-paced and flows remarkably well. But though Homefront's bare bones experience is a highly accomplished one, there's still a bit of balancing work to be done.
Aerial drones are inevitably a popular feature in the multiplayer, and rightly so, but they're so hard to shoot down they end up feeling pretty overpowered.
Well, I suppose being harder to swat out of the sky than a wasp and having unlimited rockets would do that for you.
Still, Well, the game isn't out till March, so we probably weren't even playing the final build. Even at this stage, though, Homefront is a game of tremendous promise.
No matter how it's received on launch, it should really be applauded for trying to do things differently and for saying no to an overly generic first-person genre.
No overly generic first-person genre.
Bad overly generic first-person genre.
Down genre.
Bravo's going down.
We would salute you, Homefront, but that technically would mean we're saluting an oppressive regime with blood on its hands, so 2 thumbs up?
No, if anything, that's worse. Just smile politely and hope they don't shoot us.
Almost it from us here at Game On, just time to bring you a little more from Blob 2.
Yeah, we've run odds and sods before now on THQ's colourful adventure puzzler, and now the publishers are releasing a series of virals to introduce you to the world of Blob.
We will be bringing you plenty more on the game soon, but in the meantime, sit back and enjoy this trailer.
More gaming garrulousness next week.
Garrulousness?
I've got no idea.
Feverishly taking place for the Nintendo. Feverishly taking place for the No.
Blah blah, skip skip.
Yeah.
You get a really good sound out of cans actually if you... Can't do it when I'm laughing. Amsterdam is a fabulous European location, most famous for a couple of things. Like alarms.
Hang on a minute. £368.
Sorry, I was standing like Peter Pan.
Hey, this is just another DS, isn't it?
Don't know.
You do know though, because you've just been to Amsterdam to find out. Now, we've all heard the saying, home is where the heart is, but to be honest, not everyone would agree.
Yeah, I mean, most hipsters and...
Just shooting people in the face.
Just so.
Very Rudyard Kipling.
No.
While making Homefront stand out as a truly different shooter, as level designer Brian explains.
I'm sorry?
Brian.
Brian.
As level designer Brian explains.
Sorry?
I was so on it there, I was not going to laugh. As level designer Brian explains.
I'm sorry?
Brian. While making Homefront stand out as a truly different shooter.
Just saw it coming up.
Okay, well, like last time.
Okay.